let's begin with my favorite feud in contemporary sports. That's right, LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. You know that Stephen A. is feeding off of this like oxygen. That's what Stephen A. is working with. I'll cut through Stephen A. Smith like a hot knife through butter. Every team in Major League Baseball is undefeated as we speak, except for, that's right, the Chicago Cubs. As always, we encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe. This is a show by the people, regular guys. For the people, regular guys like you and gals. So get in there, participate, join our rapidly growing community. That is just the way we like it. It's no fun without hearing from you, so we love it. Jump in, let us know what you think. Today's program is full of good stuff. Tater Tots takes center stage in March Madness. We're going to find out who is on a bag of Oritas and maybe even a little history lesson from the professor here on the origin of Tater Tots. The Why Not tournament rolls on. The Sweet 16 is here. And I'm not talking about March Madness. I'm talking about the Why Not tournament. Beer versus Led Zeppelin right now. Get over to Super 70 Sports and vote, won't you? And we got a lot of baseball for you today because it's opening day. Not fake opening day in Japan. Real opening day in America. We're going to celebrate the national pastime today as well. You can bet on that. But let's begin with my favorite feud in contemporary sports. That's right, LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith continuing to tangle. It's gone sideways between those two guys. Stephen A. has been vocal in his criticism of LeBron for the way that he has handled Bronny's career. Bronny, 1 year at USC, didn't do very much, but straight on into the NBA, clearly overmatched. All of us saw it coming. There's no Monday morning quarterbacking going on here. I don't think anybody thought that Bronny James was ready for the NBA, and despite the fact that he showed some flashes not that long ago with a 17-point game, I don't think he's done anything to dispel that criticism. But it's gotten personal between LeBron and Stephen A. Stephen A. saying that Bronny's not ready. I've said it. A lot of other people have said it. But somehow coming from Stephen A., it hits LeBron a little bit different. And he sat down on Pat McAfee's show and laid into some of the details of the issues that he has with Stephen A. Smith.
Yep.
Which leads obviously to you and Stephen A. Hey, legit, that feels like a moment that had been brewing for a long time.
He's like on a Taylor Swift tour run right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're watching it.
Yep.
We're all seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
You're seeing it as well.
He literally, it started off with, I didn't want to address it.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it. But since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
Yeah, on fire. You would be not to talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you could address it, it's your ass. Like, seriously, it's, and like another, he completely like missed the whole point. The whole point. Never would I ever not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. And I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about it again. Oh my God, he's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair in his tighty whities on the couch.
I hope at some point you two do get a chance. But you're right.
Dude, relax, bro. Relax. Seriously.
If there's one person that couldn't wait for the video to drop, it's your ass, says LeBron. Look, I agree with Stephen A. on the substance of the matter. I do think that LeBron was in a hurry to get his son into the league so that he could check one off of the bucket list. He wanted to fulfill the dream, but was it the best thing for Bronny? I think at this point in time, it seems pretty clear that it was not. Maybe in 5 years, we'll look back on it and we'll say, well, LeBron was right and we were wrong. It turned out fine. But at the moment, I think the criticism is fair. And unless I'm missing something, it doesn't seem to be that personal, but maybe there's subtext between these men that the general public is not privy to. But I will say, LeBron made me laugh because it's true. You know that Stephen A is feeding off of this like oxygen. Stephen A loves this. When he found out LeBron went on Pat McAfee and said all this shit about him, you know, absolutely, he didn't need any hymns. He didn't need any Viagra. He got a natural high when that occurred. In fact, Stephen A. Smith saying that, you know what? When LeBron confronted him right there at courtside, LeBron is lucky that he decided not to put his hands on Stephen A. Smith because Stephen A. had a little something for him.
That man put his hands on me, I would have immediately swung on him. Immediately.
Well, you're lucky that he didn't put his hands on you then, because LeBron would have crushed you like a fucking aluminum can of Shasta Cola. What the fuck, Stephen A? Stephen A trying to get us to believe that he was going to throw hands at LeBron James. Can you imagine Stephen A taking a swing at LeBron? If you can't, I have some helpful video footage that LeBron posted to his Instagram account of Stephen A working out with the gloves. Let's take a look at this. Look at those hooks from Stephen A. LeBron, you would have been in trouble if you had to taste one of those. LeBron with the laughing emojis just saying womp, womp, womp at the bottom. That had over 1 million views the last time that I checked it out. Stephen A., the form wasn't looking good. I mean, you know, they say that it's not the size of the dog, it's the fight that you have in you. Stephen, you don't have the size or the fight, my friend. I would not advise you to ever throw hands at King James. You're not a boxing legend. These men were, however. Take a look at this. We lost George Foreman. He was the last of the great 1970s champions that were still standing, with the exception of Larry Holmes, who came along a little bit later. Larry did most of his work in the 80s. A little bit younger than those guys, but you got Kenny Norton there in the back on the left. Of course, Big George in the back, in the middle. There's Larry Holmes to the side of George. And then, of course, if you don't know the two guys who are sitting down there, well, I can't help you. Smoking Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Larry won the title in 78 against Kenny Norton, and Larry dominated the heavyweight division in the 80s. So I really associate him more with that era. But the great 70s champions, the other four guys, we've lost all of them now. It was a great era. Stephen A., your workout wasn't making us forget any of those men. You might want to focus on defense and graceful defensive moves. Let's take a look at the spinners right here. They had some graceful moves. The spinners were lovers, not fighters. Stephen A., you could take a lesson from these men. When the rubber band man comes on the radio, I'll break your goddamn finger like I'm Steven Seagal if you reach to change the station. I'll snap that fucker like a twig. Hand me down my walking cane. Hand me down my hat. Look at them with the big rubber bands there, too. Those guys were showmen. God damn it. Every single one of them looked like
rubber band man.
Nice. They all look like they knew Lamont Sanford. You know? They were just cool motherfuckers. They could have hung out with Lamont and Rollo, any one of these guys. In fact, I'm not sure if Lamont and Rollo could have hung with them. Damn, son. We got an honorary spinner on this program in producer Tim. Let me now bring in another man who's been known to spin around sometimes and probably gets his rubber band action on. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I speak, of course, of the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee. He is, of course, Ronnie T-shirts.
I don't
Ronnie,
even know what the hell that means. What does that even mean?
I don't either. Look, I don't either. I really don't. You know, I make segues, and my batting average is about 87%.
It is pretty good.
The other 13, you get shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't write these segues. I'm just winging it. This show's like the rest of my life. I don't have a plan. Sometimes I get punched in the mouth, like Mike Tyson warned us would happen from time to time. You like the R&B, hip hop, old school stuff as well.
Yeah,
I gotta assume that you're a Spinners fan, Ronnie.
Dude, that song's so good. You know, my first, do you remember what your first 45 was, your first single? I got mine at Gold Circle, and it was Rock the Boat.
Ooh, George McRae.
Don't rock the boat.
Is that
Don't
George
rock the
McRae?
boat, baby. Rock
or is that
the boat.
Rock Your Baby? That's right. No, that's the.
I can't remember.
The Hughes Corporation? Or
yes.
Something like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat.
George
baby.
McRae's like,
Don't
George
tip the
McRae
boat
was,
over.
woman, hold me in your arms and rock you, baby. You know that one? That was
can we just have
jam.
Can we just like have this show be like it's a musical? We'll just break into song the rest of the episode. Just sing.
The Ricky Cobb Show, the musical. Yeah. I don't know. It's not a bad
idea. It's actually a damn good idea.
Not a bad idea at all, in fact. I don't know. It's a better idea than Stephen A. taking a swing at LeBron. What did you think of LeBron's comments to Pat McAfee? We don't often get to see LeBron sit down and be that candid about off the court issues. I gotta say, he kind of cracked me up a little bit because he's got Stephen A's number. Whatever you want to say about Bronny and LeBron is right that Stephen A is just absolutely loving every minute of this.
Dude, LeBron is such a dichotomy for me because there are times when I like him so much. Like, I admire he's a great, great basketball player. And sometimes he is so smart and funny and clever. And my God, he loves Ohio State. Like, there's so much for me to like about him. And then there's just certain things that just drive me insane about the dude. Like, he's a dichotomy for me. I wouldn't be surprised if this whole LeBron Stephen A thing is just scripted, like WWE. Like, they're just laughing at all of us that we keep talking about it.
Nah, I don't know about that, Ron. I don't know about that.
I know. I'm
Listen,
kidding.
they've got me fooled. They've got me fooled. I'll tell you that. But did you see Stephen A, like the work that he was doing there? Like, Stephen A weighs more than a bantamweight, but I'll get in the ring with Stephen A anytime. If that's what Stephen A is working with, I'll cut through Stephen A Smith like a hot knife through butter too. We can do that. I may not need a 118 pounder. I'll take on Stephen A.
He looked pretty slow, didn't he? Like,
he looked like he was punching underwater, bro.
Right?
Like, and there was nothing behind them. They were slow and they were weak. That is just the kind of opponent I'm looking for. Just like George Foreman when he came out of retirement after 10 years. All right? Well, I want the guy that's 8 days off the respirator, and Stephen A looks like he's about 9 days off of a respirator there. So that's a deal that I will make. I will fight Stephen A Smith any day if he wants to sign on the dotted line. We can do it.
Well, you just proved my point. That's why you don't want to fight a bantamweight, is because those dudes are fast, like hummingbird wings fast. Like, that's why you want no part of a bantamweight.
Yeah. No, it is. I'd be getting swarmed like, like it was bees. You know what I mean? I just assumed they wouldn't hurt though. It's like having a 7-year-old work you over with 20 punches.
It'd be death
you got hit a lot, but
death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's what it would be. It'd be death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Look at the equalizer right here, Ron. All he's got to do is taste the power. All he's got to do is taste the power. Right. You know,
you have big feet for your height. Are your fists also big for your height?
Nah, my hands are normal.
You know what they say about guys with big feet, right? Big shoes.
I do.
Big shoes.
Yeah, well, it's accurate. It's accurate. Takes quite a shoe for me to get that fucker in there, Ron. If only it were true, every other urban legend, you know? Ronnie, it's opening day, man. We have got baseball. Every team is in action now, not just the Dodgers and the Cubs. Every team in Major League Baseball is undefeated as we speak, except for, that's right, the Chicago Cubs, who have 2 losses. 29 undefeated teams, but we're 2 games under 500. It's the story of our lives. Welcome back, baseball.
Well, that's funny
back.
because I just forwarded a tweet to my friends and it says, "Happy opening day. Chicago White Sox eliminated from playoff contention."
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, what did they win last year? 41 games. Yep. I think they won.
I'm going to bet against the White Sox I'm going to bet against the White Sox every single game this year. See what happens. Like 10 or 15 bucks.
They may be a value. They may be a value. Like, they can't possibly be that bad. We're going to talk a little later in the program. I think they have the lowest over-under number in like the last 35 years or something like that. We'll discuss it a little bit later when OutKick's Ian Miller joins the show. But look, I remember the 88 Orioles. Do you remember they started 0-21?
Yeah, I do
remember that year that the Orioles went 0-21. They ended up losing like 108 games, something like that. And then the next year they came back and they actually won 80-some games. They had a winning record the following year. Now, they had a better roster than the White Sox have, but I'm expecting a bounce back. I think the White Sox are going to win like 60 games this year. They're going to surprise everybody with a 60-win season, which is a pretty low bar. But there it is. The baseball players are back. And, Ronnie, let's play a little game called How Many of These 5 Guys Can You Name?
All right.
I think you can name 4 of them.
Okay, you have to leave it up. Leave it up. Okay, so the Angels is Trout. The Yankees is Judge. The Dodgers is Ohtani. I'm going to guess that the Mets is Soto. And I'm just going to say the Royals is George Brett.
Well, just as I figured, I knew that you were going to get 4. I felt confident you would get 4. Soto was the only question, but we've talked about him enough. I knew you'd give him. That is Bobby Witt Jr. there, one of the finest young stars in baseball for the Kansas City Royals.
All right, I'll pay attention to young Bob.
Do you remember Bobby Witt Sr.? His dad was a major leaguer as well.
I remember the name.
Pitcher, fastball pitcher, terrible control, a lot of strikeouts and walks. Bobby Witt. He pitched for the Texas
Rangers. You want me to name all those guys?
I don't know, Ron. I think you've exhausted your 4 already. Ellie Dela Cruz is in there, so we know you'll at least get
and
5.
I know Fernando Tatis. He should be in there, right?
All right.
Read their names. Read their names.
Well, I can't. They're too small for me to read. Yeah, I think Bryce Harper.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Field of Dreams is a different movie if those guys.
Oh, Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton. I know he plays in the major leagues.
Oh, no, Ron. You should have quit while you were ahead.
He doesn't?
I mean, he's in the major league. Well, he's in the major leagues, but he's not.
Oh, I was just naming players that I know. I was just naming players that I know.
Well, all right. Well, you're at about 8 right now, and I feel like you have probably emptied the bag.
Clayton Kershaw. Is he still in the major leagues?
He is hanging on by a thread. Yes.
All right. So I'm at 9. I just got to come up with one more.
Well, you reflect on that as we move forward in the program. Let us know if you're able to crack double digits. But da 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 bump 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 da 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 da. bum, 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 bum. There you
Can
go.
show them the photo full.
The Clydesdales are back, baby. Look at that. St. Louis Cardinals baseball brought to you by Budweiser.
The king of beers.
They play in Busch Stadium, Ron. You might be aware of that. I think they're on the third Busch Stadium.
Yeah, I was going
if
to
I'm
say.
not mistaken.
Bush.
Let's look at
was
who's
it Bush?
retired, Ron. Here, you might know
Show
some of
me,
these
show me.
names.
Take it full at some point.
Look
Yep,
at
there you go.
this.
Then you have
Look
the
at
photo
this.
full too. You have it larger. Got 8A. You could show it.
Elvis Andrus, Charlie
You could show
Blackman,
it.
Shin Soo Choo, Brandon Crawford, Daniel Hudson, Kevin Kiermaier, Mike Moustakas, Steven Strasburg, and it's official Joey Votto.
All right, so Strasburg
now
and
retired as
Votto
well.
are the only two I've ever heard of.
Good Jesus, Ron. Are you Are you sure you're an American?
Lord save us.
I have a buddy. Shout out to my friend Gabe Estel, who
Gabe.
I worked with at my old college. That's right. Gabe Estel has a podcast called Rock and Roll Shin Soo Choo. It's a combination of baseball and music. You know that song, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo?
Yeah.
Don't make me sing it, Ron.
Can you sing it? Have you been on his podcast?
I've been on his podcast a number of times, but I always thought that's such a cool title. Rock and Roll Shin Soo Choo.
All right. Hey, so you brought up Busch Stadium. So it was Busch.
Tim is feisty today. I
He
like
is,
the
isn't he?
energy that
Yeah.
Tim is bringing to the program. Yeah.
So Busch Stadium, Three Rivers, and Riverfront, all carbon copies of each other, correct?
Well, more or less.
Yeah. From the sky, you couldn't tell a difference.
Yeah. They were very similar. Busch Stadium, old Busch 2. The one that they played in the 70s and 80s was not far from that either. So, the National League was full of those multi-purpose stadiums because in Pittsburgh, obviously, you had the Steelers and the Pirates playing there. You had both Cardinals in St. Louis. You had the
Veterans.
Eagles and the Phillies there at Veterans, and the Bengals and the Reds shared the other one. It was the thing of the era.
Mhm.
And then there were other places. Obviously, we've talked about it before. We talked to Jim Everett about it, I think, when he was on the program, the old baseball diamond layouts at Candlestick Park. You would see it. They would be sharing the Astrodome. You used to see Astros games in September, and they would still have the
running
fucking
from
yard
turf
lines.
to dirt, running from turf to dirt back to turf again.
I grew up with it. I know it's better when every team has its own fancy dedicated stadium. I'm not saying that isn't better, but I certainly do have an affinity for the era when these big concrete donuts is what they're called a lot of the time.
Yeah.
We're doing double duty. Jeff Passan. Here, take a look at this, Ron. Here's a human interest story that I think that you can get behind. From Home Depot to home opener, Washington Nationals right-hander Brad Lord worked at the home improvement store moving mulch and Christmas trees over the winter. He's made the Nationals, and he will be in their bullpen today as they are set to do battle with the Philadelphia Phillies. This motherfucker was working at Home Depot, Ronnie. Now he's a big leaguer.
That's what baseball and football players and basketball players used to do back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Maybe not the 80s, probably 70s and before, right? They had to work in the off season.
Yeah. Baseball cards used to have on the
they used to what they worked, right?
Like guys did in the
Yeah.
This motherfucker drives a forklift in the off season. And we were all
Sells
just
insurance.
like, well, obviously he's got to feed his family.
Yep.
You can't just do that playing third base. It's a different era, man. Good for him. I'm happy for him. But Ron, here's the thing that I'm excited about because, I'm me. Ballpark Food. We have got some interesting new options that are debuting. We're in a different era for Ballpark Food, and we have been for a while. Back in my day, what were your options really? hot dog,
Pretzel, hot dog,
popcorn,
popcorn. Pretzel.
pretzel.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it was
Some candy.
I remember going to games back in the 80s, and I mean, it wasn't anything to get excited about at all. It was like eating in a school cafeteria, practically.
Oh, yeah. And
now
the popcorn.
it's becoming an art form.
Yeah, dude, the popcorn, I think
the
they
popcorn
popped.
was terrible.
They popped it all. They popped it all like a week before opening day, and that was enough to last the whole season.
Yes, that is exactly how I recall it at Riverfront Stadium.
Yep.
But we got good stuff now. So let's take a look at some of the culinary attractions that you might find at a ballpark near you this season. Let's start with the Rangers 24-inch burrito. You know what they say about men with big shoes? They like
tortillas.
to eat big burritos, right?
Big tortillas.
Yeah. It's made with a 26-inch tortilla filled with rice, beans, seasoned taco meat, nacho cheese, pico de gallo, lettuce, and sour cream.
So a regular burrito?
Gallo. How do you say?
A regular burrito?
It's basically just a big regular burrito. Yeah. It's like every other burrito you've ever eaten except a lot fucking bigger.
Now, I will say that's an impressive tortilla right there.
That is, a lot of other tortillas are experiencing envy.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. That is, look at the girth on that tortilla. Just the circumference of it. It's bigger than a manhole cover. That fucking thing.
They've also added 40 more bathrooms on each level.
Yes,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Producer Tim Show.
I'm telling you, try the veal. He's going to be here all week, folks. Here's one for you. The Yankees, is it tiramisu?
Tiramisu.
Tiramisu. Okay.
Yeah, I say tiramisu.
I've never had it.
Oh, it's awful. It tastes like coffee.
It looks like it would taste. It looks like it would taste like coffee. It looks like you went into the seasoning spices that your mom has on a rack. My mom had a rack of spices in the 70s, and I swear to God, we hadn't even exhausted them by like the late 90s. That shit had to have expired 20 years ago. My mom kept all the same stuff. That looks nasty, man. Made with espresso.
So do you think espresso? Do you think tiramisu? Does tiramisu taste better in helmets than it does in regular bowls?
Well, I don't know if it's going to taste enough better. You know my philosophy. Everything tastes better out of a batting helmet.
Exactly.
But that looks like it's going to need a lot of fucking help as far as I'm concerned. The batting helmet can only do so much, Ron. But I'll tell you, a Trident cup, easy for me to say, a Trident cup goes a long fucking way. Take a look at this. Out in Seattle, you can do it right with one of these sweet bastards. The Trident's Up Cup. I'm assuming if we saw the entire thing, people are going to be consuming alcohol from a Trident, and I can find no flaw in that plan. Tim, how'd you like to knock back a margarita out of a Trident? That sounds like a life experience that we should all be so lucky to have happen to us.
It's chugging the Trident. It's better than shooting the boot, that's for sure.
Look at that fucking thing. I love it.
Wonder how much it holds.
Ron, I think. Yeah, that's a good question. How many ounces? Is that?
The problem with that is even if you like beer, like you're gonna have to drink it fast or it's gonna get warm pretty quick, right? Like if it's 32, 40 ounces of beer, like feels like there'd be a lot in there.
Perfect for washing down a corn dog, Ron, and not just any kind of corn dog, exotic corn dogs. Take a look at this. Although I don't know what's going on with the What Up corn dog there. It's green, but I'm telling you right now, if I was in Seattle this summer, I'm going to the concession stand.
Is that bottom one like chicken fried?
I'm coming back. We'll get to that in a second. I'm concerned about the green corn dog right now, Rod. I want a Trident beverage, and I want a green corn dog. And then I'm going to need an appointment with a gastro.
What would green be? The only thing I
Eniologist.
can think green would be like pistachio. Like what other avocado?
I have no idea, bro. I don't know what's going on there.
Broccoli.
but I would
Oh, broccoli.
absolutely destroy
It's
that
broccoli.
thing.
It's covered in broccoli.
Okay, well, in that event, maybe just a couple of Tridents then would work for me. But I really want to try that Slugger dog, and I don't know what's going on there.
It doesn't look like it's chicken fried?
Done to it. It might be.
Dude,
it looks
if it's
delicious.
Dude, can you imagine chicken fried? Oh my God,
It
that'd be
looks
amazing.
greasy. It looks like it's going to clog my arteries.
Yeah.
I'm all in at that point. I don't even need to know any other details. Look at that thing. It looks decadent. I don't know what the sauce is, but I know that I want it in my system right now.
I agree.
Desperately. Tim, get in here. Let's have a conversation here. Three men having real talk about tater tots. I have said before, tater tots, the most underrated side dish in America. The only other thing that's in the conversation are the crumbs, the crumblies, Ron.
Yep.
I think you call them from Long John Silver's.
Yeah.
Yeah. They, with an honorable mention to Long John Silver's, tater tots, the most underrated side in this country. Tater tots should be available everywhere. And I'm sure if it was up to Orida, they would be, goddammit. Take a look at this, fellas. I got a little bit of history for you on the tater tot as well. Have we got
hey, Ricky,
bag of tater
update
tots?
while we're waiting for that.
Air Jordan
update.
or whatever his name is.
Yeah, you know, update on my story about this kid on WTF last week. I actually went to their.
There you go.
I went to their Instagram page and I downloaded the coupon and I got my free bag of Oritas 2 days ago.
Well, enjoy the spam that you're going to be getting for the next 17 years in exchange for that bag of Oritas, Ron. I went in and looked at the terms of the agreement and I said, you know what? Maybe I'll just spring for a bag of tater tots. But
dude,
there
I
he
saved
is. He's a
$6.49.
grandson. He's a grandson of the guy who founded Orida, right? Air Ritchie here, BYU student athlete. But listen to this. Tim had in the rundown this morning, BYU player whose relative invented tater tots. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Like, did his relative actually invent tater tots? And sure enough, he did. Tater tots were invented by F. Neffy Grigg and Golden Grigg. How's that for a name? Golden Grigg. They founded Orida in 1953. They were looking for a way to use leftover slivers of potato in their French fry production. So they chopped up the potato scraps, mixed them with flour and seasoning, shaped them into small cylindrical pieces. Easy for me to say.
Cylindrical.
There you go. Cylindrical. Thank you. The English language and I sometimes have some battles of our own here. Perfected the recipe and introduced tater tots in 1956. So how about that? I didn't realize that.
Keyword is perfected. Keyword is perfected, I think, Ricky. It's unlike fries, which could be shoestring or steak fries or home style or curly. Tater tots can only be that size. I think he really perfected it. You don't want a potato ball. You don't want it bigger. I really think I'm glad you're giving props to it because, yet another American invention, but really, truly unique. All right, think about it, Ron. You don't want a tater tot the size of a baseball. I certainly don't.
No, because you have to have the perfect ratio of potato with crunch.
Somebody out there in the Arizona Diamondbacks organization is watching our show today, and they're writing down baseball-sized tater tots. And you're going to see those debuting next year at Arizona.
Well, what about their cousin? Are you a fan of their cousin, the Crispy Crown, which is basically a like kind of a flatter version?
Yeah, they're both winners. I was going to ask you. To me, crowns they're just
I'm
as
not mad at
good.
Crowns.
I
Yeah, I'm
don't
not
even
mad
really
at Crowns.
I don't really have a preference. Yeah,
Well,
I can
Crowns
do
need
either.
ketchup, though. Crowns need ketchup, I feel. The
Well, yeah,
tater
so
tot
do-
can go in. It's like a nice little hot pocket going in. I don't let those dissolve. I actually do chew
like
those.
Doritos, like you just don't
Yeah,
let
I
them
don't
sit
let
in your
them.
mouth.
I don't let them
marinate,
slowly melt in my mouth. Yeah.
marinate.
Ron,
all right.
Ron, what do you dip them in? Tim's a ketchup guy.
Oh,
What's your
absolutely.
preferred?
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely ketchup.
I go a different direction.
Barbecue
Ranch.
sauce. Oh, okay. I can see ranch.
I'm a ranch guy.
Yeah, I
Although
can see
barbecue
ranch.
sauce probably would be.
All right, I'm gonna give you a quick.
Just fine.
I'm gonna give you a quick recipe for tater tots or crispy crowns. I used to make this for Tyler and her friends all the time when her friends would spend the night. Take a cookie sheet, put down. I mean, this is super easy. It's just super easy. Put down the tater tots or the crispy crowns. Throw some scrambled eggs.
Ooh.
Throw some pieces of bacon all over it, and then cover it in cheddar cheese. Pop it in the oven for 15 minutes. Absolutely amazing.
Wow, you're making your own little
Somebody
frittata.
had the
Ron.
cool dad. Good Lord,
Wow.
did all the girls want to come over to Tyler's house?
Yeah, I mean, it's what we.
I'll tell
It's
you
every
right
time
now.
they. Yeah, every day. It's what we made.
You know what?
It's what we made. It's what we made for
Ron?
breakfast.
I identify as a 16-year-old girl now because I want to come to your house and have you make that for me. I'm just declaring. And also, I want to set some state records while I'm at it. Tater tots and state records for me now.
Only in Maine.
Because I
Only in Maine.
I'll tell you what,
identifies-
Ricky.
Yeah.
If and when you visit, I will make that for you for breakfast.
Oh my God. Well, I'm in. I'm 100% in. We got to talk about this thing that's happening the first week of May, whatever it is, Ron. But I
West
want to
Fest.
talk right now about the Why Not tournament, fellas, because we had our last first round matchup last night. I posted it late. I think I posted it after midnight because
You
I
did.
forgot. But
You
woke
did.
up to a whole lot of votes anyway.
I
So
know,
the
wasn't that
public is
crazy?
still
Midnight.
Yeah.
all over it. Yeah.
It was probably
I just kind of
it was the international crowd.
You know?
It was the international crowd voting.
The international crowd picking up the slack for me.
Yep.
Coffee, the 2 seed in the East region, taking on the 15 seed. I speak of Eric Idle, John Cleese and the boys, Michael Palin, Monty Python. And we anticipated that this one wouldn't be very close. And let's go ahead and fire it. With over 8,000 votes cast.
Overnight votes.
Overnight votes. I'm shocked that there are that many votes. I posted it at a
Wow.
very inopportune time.
Jesus,
As
Monty
most
Python.
of America slept. Monty Python, that's actually a pretty respectable performance. for
Very,
Monty Python.
very. I thought he was just your
Yeah.
guilty pleasure, Monty Python, but wow. I thought he and Benny Hill were a little too esoteric for your audience, but good Lord, wow, great showing.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Well,
I didn't even.
Monty Python's not a guy, Tim.
I understand
There's
that.
not like
I
a
understand
dude named Monty Python.
that. Right, it's
although that
it's
would
the
be awesome
comedy,
if
it's the
it was.
genre. Yeah.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.